Hello class, and welcome to lesson 3.6, using the TI-83s to solve. And ladies and gentlemen, you can find any graphing calculator on the internet to help you solve this, but I'm just going to use a TI-83 because I've got an app that fits on my smartboard. Okay? So before we get to that, let's just quickly review the three different methods of solving linear systems and how to explain each method. So the first method we learned in order was the graphing method. Okay, and the key for that, ladies and gentlemen, was to graph both lines and find the point of intersection. And short form for point of intersection is P of I. Okay. Second method we learned, ladies and gentlemen, was called the substitution method. Okay, and in order to use the substitution method, you're going to substitute one equation into another and find the variable. And of course, folks, once you find the one variable, you sub it into one of the equations and find the second variable. Okay? And the last method we learned most recently was elimination method. Okay? So to do that, folks, you're going to line your equations up and you're going to add or subtract to eliminate a variable. Sorry, let's fix my spelling there. Eliminate a variable. So you solve for the remaining variable, and then of course, again, you take that variable that you solve, you sub it into one of the equations and find the other one. All right, so there's the warm-ups. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to do a graphing calculator note. So if you've already started this on a separate sheet of paper, please go ahead usually put at the beginning of your units. So do that and write the stuff down, and then after I'll pause it and then we'll unpause it and we'll do the examples together. So let's just pause. Okay, class, so hopefully you've written this information down with your graphing calculator sheet. That's a good thing to keep a tool from year to year, as we do use the graphing calculator from time to time. But again, if you don't have a graphing calculator at your fingertips, you can use any online graphing program, or even a spreadsheet will graph this stuff for you. Okay, so now as a class, we're going to complete example 2 on page 122. So turn that to your textbook, and it's just getting you used to the graphing calculator. So it says, solve the linear system, determine the solution to 2 decimal places. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to pull up my graphing calculator here, folks. It says to pull it to 2 decimal places. If you haven't reset your calculator, make sure you don't have anything in your equations. And how did I get to that? I pressed Y equals. Okay, and I want to change it to 2 decimal places. So I'm going to press the mode button, and then notice how I go down to float. Currently the decimal place is floating. I'm going to actually set it at 2 decimal places, so I'm going to press enter. Now 2 is set. So that's, if you're trying to do 2 or 3 decimal places on the TI-83, that's how you do that. And then I'm going to go back to Y equals, and I'm going to enter in my equation. So my first equation is 3x, so 3 x t theta n button for the x, subtract 2. Okay, that's my first equation, so I'm going to press enter. Okay, now to do my second equation, I'm going to be very careful. So on the top of 123, I'm looking at plugging it in. Notice it's a negative button. So the negative is the one in brackets beside the decimal here. So negative. Notice it's smaller, 0.5 x t theta n plus 4. Now I have my 2 equations, okay? And I need to figure out what window is going to best make me find the intersection point. So it says in the textbook to change your window to the following. So negative 9.4, enter, 9.4. Then we're going to leave scale at 1, and then it says -6 and 6 as what they say, and then you press graph. Okay, so now, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see your equation. It's going to look like that. You can clearly see the point of intersection. But in order to try to trace that, that could take a little difficulty. We've got some calculation buttons in the calculator, and the graphing calculator will actually do it for you. So I'm going to go second trace, which is my calculate button. Notice number 5 says intersection point, or intersect, which means intersection point. So I press enter. The cursor's on one line. I press enter again. It jumps to the other. It'll say to guess, so press enter again. And you've got your point of intersection. So I'm just going to quickly go back to my website. I'm going to actually capture that screen. And take it to my lesson. Okay, so go back to my lesson and I will drag it down. Okay, so what you should write down in your notes, folks, is that solution xy in this case equals 1.71 and 3.14. That's rounded to 2 decimal places. All right, so for your next part of the lesson, ladies and gentlemen, it should be a handout that you should have been given. Okay, and I love this lesson because it's applicable to the real world. What has changed is the way in which we take a look at cell phones. So cell phones back in the day, so think back 7-8 years ago, so around 2000-ish, 2005-ish, cell phone plans were based on how many minutes you talked, because texting really wasn't important and data wasn't really used because we didn't have smartphones back then. So this idea is still helpful for you in the real life. Remember, folks, that to be successful in life, either financially, you need to make sure you're comparing your options. So don't just go with the first cell phone company you're talking to. Get a plan and then take that to another company and compare and say, hey, for example, Bell offers me this, and then Rogers will say, well, I can offer you this, and then you take Rogers' plan back to Bell or TELUS or whoever you're going to use for a provider, and you can get a better bargain than you would believe. So make sure you are good at bargaining. Okay, so let's take a look at this problem here, ladies and gentlemen. It's Sam's father's planning to buy a cell phone. Sam is needing help to decide which one to buy by investigating different service providers. Okay, so it says here that Digicel is a company that charges $20 per month plus $15 for each minute the phone is used. On the other hand, CanTalk charges $25 a month, which is a larger monthly fee, but 0.8 or 0.08 minutes, so 8 cents per minute to talk. So although it's got a greater monthly cost, it charges less per minute. So question 1, which plan should Sam recommend if her father wants to use the phone for emergency use only? So for emergency use only, you're not going to be charging up too many minutes. So taking a look, which one should you use, folks? And hopefully you're looking for the one that has the lower monthly plan. So I would say Digicel, because it has a cheaper monthly cost. Okay. Fitting in the next question, number 2. Okay, number 2 says to write let statements and an equation to describe the fee structure for each 2 companies. So what are we worried about? We're worried about how much money Sam's father is going to have to pay in total, as well as, and what affects that, folks, is your independent variable. And your independent variable is how many minutes you're going to talk. So let's start with that. So let's let X represent the number of minutes used or talked, whatever you want to write down. Okay? And then we're going to let Y represent our total cost, because that's our dependent variable. Sorry, let represent total cost, my fault. So let's come up with the equation with Digicel, okay? So we're going to start with Y equals, because total cost equals the rate, which is 0.5 times the number of minutes, which is X, plus your monthly fee of $20. Let's label that equation 1. Can talk is going to be the equation number 2. So we're going to start with total cost equals its minute per minute rate is 0.08 X plus the monthly cost, which is $25. So now we've got two equations with the same two unknowns, just like we've been practicing. Okay, now what I want to do, folks, is I want to go to the graphing calculator. I want to plot the point of intersection and actually find it, and then we will answer the rest of the questions. So I'm going to skip to the graphing calculator. Okay, and I'm going to go to y equals. I'm going to clear these equations so they're not going to interfere with what I'm going to do. And the first equation I'm going to type in is the Digicel equation, which is 0.15x plus 20. Okay, press enter. I'm going to do my second equation, 0.08. Let me just clear that out and actually do 0.08x and plus 25. Now before I graph these, so I can tell which one is which, I'm going to skirt all the way over to the left side here. I'm going to press enter once, and notice I'm going to make a thicker line. That's just going to mean when I graph them that I'm going to get a better identification in terms of 1 and 2. So let's go to the window and fix this up. So X is my number of minutes. So let's go 0 minutes and I don't know, let's say 85 minutes. Okay. And then we will do a scale of 1. And then for our total cost, ladies and gentlemen, we could start at 0. However, what do we know is already going to be our minimum? For sure, we're going to pay 20. So let's just actually change that to 20. Okay. And my maximum, let's say, I don't know, $45. Okay. And let's press graph. So, oops. Got an error wrong here. So let's take a look here. What do I have wrong? If I go to window, 0.85, 2045. Let's go to my y equals for a second. Okay, oh, something's not wrong with my plots. Let's turn those off. Okay, now we'll try graphing. So here comes my first equation and my second equation. So everybody see the point of intersection right here. I'm actually going to find it using the calculate button, and then we're going to quickly do a sketch of this. So I'm going to go second trace, 5. Okay, there's the first curve, hit enter, second curve, guess. Okay, there's my point of intersection right here. I'm just going to circle it, and then I'm going to capture that whole thing and bring it into my lesson. So I'd like you to just quickly draw that. Where did my little, hold on. I just need to go back and get it. Okay, try that again. I just need to capture just this. There. Okay, so I just have to, just give me 1 second, guys. I have to clear this one. There. So this is the one I was wanting you to draw. Okay, and what do we know? P of I, point of intersection, is 71.43, 30.71. Okay, so my equation 1, okay, is this equation here, equation 1, and my equation 2 is right here, the thicker line. Okay, so looking at this graph, ladies and gentlemen, the point of intersection is very important. So what does it mean? It means they're both going to charge the same amount. Okay, so what does this mean? It means that both companies will charge $30.71 when Sam's father talks 71.43 minutes. Okay, so whichever is, so there's 3 cases here. Before 71 minutes, one company is going to charge be lower. At 71 minutes, both companies are going to charge $30.71, and after 71 minutes, another company is going to be cheaper. And that's the key about a point of intersection. It's a key point in terms of word problems. So let's take a look at the next questions to answer. Okay, Number 4, actually 3 we just did. Number 4, use the calculate function, find the point of intersection. So we just did that, folks. So that's 71 and 43. Sorry, 71.43, comma, 30.71. So always remember that the context of the problem. Okay, which company should Sam's father use if he estimates he will talk on the phone for 1 hour? So 1 hour is 60 minutes. Okay, and look on your graph. 60 minutes is before the point of intersection, so which one's lower? That's Digicel. And why? Because it's lower on the graph. Okay. Next, we take a look, 75 minutes. That's past the point of intersection, folks. So that's going to be Can Talk is going to be cheaper because it is what? Lower on the graph. Okay. And here's a very important step, folks, and make sure that you have this ready for your unit test or in life. This is a great thing. What advice should Sam give her father? Well, there's 3 cases. Before the point of intersection, at the point of intersection, and after it. So let's go over those. So A, before the point of intersection, so talking less than 71 minutes. Sam should advise her father that Digicel is cheaper. Why? Because it's lower on the graph. Okay, so that's the before the point of intersection. Second case is at the point of intersection. So talking exactly 71.43 minutes. Make sure you tell me that both companies will be the same and tell me how much. So both companies will charge, don't forget your units here, folks, $30.71. I'm going to put in brackets here, same for both. Awesome. And the last case we need to remember is after the point of intersection. So C, so talking more than 71 minutes. Can Talk is cheaper because it's lower on the graph. Awesome. Okay, folks. So I would just like you to go to the homework, which is completing the puzzle. If it's on the next page here. Don't worry about the in-class stuff because you need the TID3. You can try this next day if you want to borrow a TID3 and try that. However, let's just go to the homework, which should be the attached puzzle assignment. Use whichever method you want. I would suggest substitution or elimination for practice. There's no graph given, so I wouldn't choose the graphing method, so solve it algebraically. And get ready because you have a test coming up. See the website or your teacher, Miss R, for your test dates. Have a great day, folks, and see me again if you need any help, or if you want to just use a graphing calculator and play around with that in class, let me know. Have fun, guys.